This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. Bumper to Bumper, helping you and your car feel better. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen. And I thought today we'd be talking about the big bad summer being around the corner, but man, it is like a little bit chilly, a little bit windy, a little bit rainy. It's not reminiscent of spring or summer. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you've got car questions, we've got answers, so we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And you can also text us at 411-923. So today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, a little bit of fact or fiction. We're always taking your texts and phone calls. And is your car ready for the big bad summer? And the first thing that comes to mind, and I like, is the first thing that came to mind last week was radiators, but this week it's batteries. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Well, radiators are a big one, Dave. I mean, you saw a car this week, like we talked about, overheated, blown up with a damaged engine because a radiator popped in the car.
75,000 miles on that car.
Yeah, the one we had was 70,000. So batteries, I bet your battery isn't going to make it to 70,000. I don't think. Now is the time of year when we really want to start thinking of batteries. You know, I used to live back east in Virginia, of all places. Imagine that, Virginia Auto Service. Virginia. I don't know how that worked, but it was one of those things. It was the first time it got really cold. The first freeze. It was October where a lot of cars had bad batteries in. Well, now it's June or July when you get the first 100-degree day. The batteries, Humpty Dumpty gets knocked off the wall there, and he's dead now.
Well, I think of this when I think of batteries. Are you going to choose when you buy your battery, or are you going to leave it up to Murphy to choose when you get a battery?
Right. And we can pretty much tell and predict how long, or not how long your battery is going to last. Well, we know how long the battery is going to last. A good battery, I don't care how good the battery is. You could have the best battery, and
what are we going to call What are we going to call a good battery? A top tier battery?
Okay, well, yeah,
we'll coin that phrase.
Top tier, kind of like the gas, I guess. Top tier. A good quality battery will last 28 to 36 months. And I don't care if you buy the very best one. Now, if you buy the worst one or the El Cheapo, it's going to maybe be, you'd be lucky months. To get 12 or 18 months out of it. And there might be some other consequences of having that Mr. Cheap battery in there too. So what can we do to make that battery last more, or at least last the 28, 36 months, or stretch it out a little bit longer?
Well, like you say, I'm from the Midwest, and a battery should last 5 years. I'm not really from the Midwest. I'm from here, and I know they don't last 5 years. But in this torturous summer, that's what you can expect. So you buy a good battery every 24 to 36 months is what we're saying. So that may be every third spring you go in and purchase a battery. Mm-hmm. That way you get to choose when you buy a battery versus the side of the road telling you we get to buy a battery.
Well, you're going to be proactive about it because that is one of a handful of things on the car that are very common and very likely to leave you stuck on the side of the road or cause other damage to the car. And I would say another damage, if the battery is weak, the alternator is getting worked harder. Now, a cheap battery or an older battery that's maybe vibrated around because it's not secured properly could start leaking acid and cause other problems.
Well, I'm wondering, how can I tell I'm going to have a bad battery before it happens? Do they always go out just like a light bulb, or do they give us some warning? And I would venture to say a lot of times they give us warning, but if we're not that perceptive about it, if we're not really paying attention to what it sounds like when my car starts, or what the shop said, hey, you kind of got an old battery, well, if we're ignoring that, it is going to go out like a light bulb. But many times they go out just like a light bulb. That's the perception that people have.
Yeah, I'd say about half the time, or maybe a little bit. I mean, here we go with making up statistics, right?
70% of them are made up just before they're given.
Just like that one, right?
Yeah.
Well, so you can go out and you might notice your car just has a little different sound when it's starting. So like you said, Dave, if you're not really in touch with your inner car, then you may not notice that. But just a slightly slower cranking over of the engine, maybe it doesn't catch right away. And then sometimes You just go out. I've gone out to a car in the parking lot. Customer brings their car in for an oil change. I walk out, hit the key, boom, the battery blows up.
They don't blow up.
Yes.
They're not bombs.
They can be. They can be, especially if you get a spark near one jump starting the car or something. But no, they can just, they'll just go bad sometimes. So that's why I know a lot of the bumper-to-bumper shops, I know we do at my shop, we test the battery in your car every single time the car comes in for a service. We want to catch that because we don't want you, one, having to make an impulse decision or impulse buying the battery from a roadside battery schlepper. The battery van, if you will, or the guy on the side of the road or the road service people. So we want to catch you before you have a problem. It's not going to be convenient when it happens. And a lot of our regular customers over time already have our batteries in their car. So if we can catch that while it's still in the warranty period, it's
get another
win.
battery in,
Yeah.
They win because they don't have to pay for it.
Yes,
so
exactly.
So they're gonna. I see these batteries that have 72-month warranty. What do you mean they only last 2 years? They got a 72-month warranty.
Well, it's marketing, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it is.
It's and there's some degree of the way. I mean, I guess you could have good, better, best is maybe how they should market them, because a 50. I'll make up some numbers. We'll have a 50-month battery might have 500 cold cranking amps. And we're talking about the same size. So batteries have sizes that are different numbers. They're called a BCI size. So we'll just take a 24 series battery. That's a common, fits your Hondas, fits your Nissans. A lot of cars top post terminal. So the 50-month might be 500 cold cranking amps. The 70-month might be 700 cold cranking amps. And the 90-month, and again, I'm just making these numbers up for the example, might be 900 cold cranking amps. Well, you don't necessarily need that cold cranking amp, so it's not the best idea to always buy, quote, the best battery, because it may not be the best thing for your car. You need to make sure you have the cranking amps that your car needs and you have a good warranty, but you don't need that best battery that has all the extra cells and plates and everything packed in it. Sometimes those...
Well, the problem with that is that we only have so big of a spot where we can put the battery, so if we're going to get a battery and we're going to increase the cold cranking amps by 30%, we only have the same size box. The plates get really close together, and we're really trying to shoehorn this battery together to give us that cold cranking amp rating, but it doesn't necessarily give you a better longevity.
Right, and the plates are closer together, and in the heat they warp, and that's just have a more propensity to short out. So,
well, with the biggest problem with batteries that I see is that they come into our shop and we're diagnosing an electrical problem or transmission issue, and we test every battery that comes through the door because the car is electronic. It has all kinds of little modules and communication going on, and we start there. Sounds like the simplest thing, but you fix cars with bad batteries, even though they start the car, but they're just below the threshold of a good battery. So in our car, it learns the way you drive. It learns the way the engine is wearing. It learns the way the transmission's wearing. It learns all these things, and if it goes brain dead every time you start the car, all that memory is lost, and the car has to relearn again. So it's never performing well because it's always starting fresh, but not fresh in a good way. It's starting fresh like it doesn't know anything about you or your engine.
Well, and I've seen plenty of cars in my shop with check engine lights on, and you get these weird problems, and it's always the one that you kind of, it starts fine, it cranks over, this is a newer car or a newer battery, and you just get your lunch eaten, and then you think, did I check that battery? So the tech will go back and check the battery, and it comes back with a bad cell or a weak whatever, or low state of charge, and funky problems as a result of the battery. Those are just the weird ones. There's other things that a cheap battery or a leaking other things that can happen.
Well, when we come back, we've got open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR, and we're going to teach you if the battery light comes on, do you have a bad battery, and what that means. You're listening to Dave and Matt on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, oh yeah, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
After 14 years in the States, mostly spent here in the Valley, I was getting bloody frustrated with the treatment I was receiving from dealerships on the maintenance and repairs of my vehicles. I finally reached out to a friend who told me I was crazy not to try Virginia Auto Service. Being a mom with a busy schedule, children, and work, I took my friend's advice and gave Virginia a try. What a refreshing difference. From the first step through their doors, their staff was accommodating and understanding. Robert explained in plain English what I needed to have done, but also why. They went out of their way to make sure that the experience was convenient, with door-to-door shuttle service by a lovely man named Bergie. Several years and a number of visits later, the experience is always the same. They tell me what is necessary right now and what is not. This is Victoria, and I don't know much about cars, but I do know that from boot to bonnet, Virginia Auto Service knows how to take care of their customers. Check them out online at virginiaautoservice.com.
Hi, Jerry Colangelo here with 3 reasons to tee up a legendary golf outing. The Gold, the Patriot, and the Heritage. 3 championship courses all located at the Wigwam Resort. And why wouldn't you want to play somewhere Golf Week named as one of 2012's best courses? And it's home to world-class golf instruction by The Plain Truth, founded by renowned top 10 instructor Jim Hardy. Tee up a round or a lesson today. Visit wigwamgolf.com. That's wigwamgolf.com.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and this show is about you and your car experience. A lot of people are just scratching their head when it comes to cars. They don't know anything about cars, and they hate going to the shop because it's just not their arena of expertise, and all they care about is I know it's going to cost money. I know I got to pay for it, but I just don't want to get ripped off. So that's what we're here for. We're telling you some expectations so you can feel a lot more comfortable with that nerve-wracking, crummy experience that happens every summer when your battery goes bad.
Well, we want to teach you how to ask the right questions and how to respond when you're told you need something, and to make sure you're really getting what you need. Maybe a lot of these cases we talk about, you don't get enough of what you need. Everybody's trying to do things on the cheap. And they're afraid to talk about doing the job the right way.
Yes.
And I always refer back to your thing, Dave, with getting the window put in your house. Always a low bid, and what's the guy say? He gives the lowest bid, but then you ask him the other question. Well, how much to do it better?
Well, how much to do it right? Well, in that case, oh gosh, I think I would probably use a lintel instead of rebar. This is my only house, man. Of course I want to do it right. I know you want to be low bid and you want to get the job. So if there's questions that you have on your mind and that we have not covered, don't hesitate to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And up first this segment, we're going to go with, looks like Fred in Mesa, difference for radio repair.
We have to learn to read first, Dave. It's reference for radio repair.
Well, but, I'm looking at a monitor that's about 10 feet away from me. I'm really not that blind.
Okay. Fred, what can we help you with today?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking for somebody that can fix my radio.
What do you want to fix your factory radio, or is this
Yeah, it's a factory radio in a 1988 Honda Accord.
Fred, Dave, what do you think? I mean, I don't know that there's anybody that's really going to fix that radio. You might have a hard time finding somebody to fix a radio from an 88 Accord. You might be able to find one in a salvage yard, but I would think unless there's some really specific reason that you want the factory radio in your 88 Accord, I would think a good stereo shop. Dave, who's the guy that you use? Sounds good to me.
In Tempe. Sounds good to me. They're fantastic. And you can get an aftermarket radio that, you're going to have to learn some new knobs and doohickeys, but at the end of the day, you're going to be happier with the replacement than trying to fix this old one. In a salvage yard would be a way to go after it.
Yeah, because you're going to get a CD player. You might have a USB connection. You might be able to connect your smartphone to it that way. Your 88 probably has a tape deck. So maybe you still have a large collection of tapes that we want to listen to, and that would be a reason to maybe keep the
old one. So I have a text here. It says, what kind of oil should I put in my car, 10W30 or 5W20? And I text him back, well, what kind of car you got? He's got a 2004 Honda Accord. What kind of oil should be using in that?
I'm going to say probably if of those two choices, I think I heard you say 520. If you had to pick between one of those two, I'm going to say it's 520. The car probably calls for 530. The other thing that you'll find is you'll open your owner's manual and you'll find a chart that shows the temperature range, and probably 1030 would work fine too. But I think I'd stick with a 530 or a 520. And on most newer cars, if you open the hood, look right on the oil cap. It says right there what to use.
I think people run into the fact that they think, well, I can do something different. It's Arizona. It's hot. I can run a little thicker oil. It's going to be better for my car. The engineers at Honda took all that into account. So I'm going to believe what they said, and I'm going to run 520 if it says 520 on the cap. I could probably get away with putting 1030 in it, but is it going to do any better? Why not just use what they're saying? So you can always default. For anybody out there, don't think we're going to do anything different or great to our car by using a different oil viscosity. Put in there what went through R&D and what the manufacturers talked about.
Yeah. If anything, maybe something lighter might help with fuel economy and such, but it's not going to be a big enough thing. We can do a whole show about oil, right?
Oh, yeah. And we are going to be doing one soon, so tune in there. 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And I've got another text here, and let me see if I can read this right, because I'm a little illiterate this morning. Battery connectors at battery always turn gray on my 1998 Malibu. What can I do? Gray battery cables.
Well, that's going to be a side post connection. I'm 99% certain. We can't remember every one of these off the top of our head.
He made that up. I'm 100% sure it's a side post, unless someone changed it.
It's a side post battery, and it should have, the positive is obviously red, the negative is black. So I think what you're talking about, when it's turning gray, you might have some acid leaking out of the battery and then going down and burning those connections. I don't know that it would make them turn gray, but that's all I can think of. And I know the AC Delco, that's the battery we sell. I think that's the best battery. They used to have a problem where they would leak acid out the side terminal, out the positive cable, and corrode, but that's been fixed years and years ago. But that's a problem, and that's one of the things with a visual inspection of a battery that leaks. And I'm not saying a punctured hole or a broken, but even the vented type that leak, those can cause lots of other problems.
Well, before the break, I mentioned the battery light. It's a red light. It looks like a battery. It's a square box with two little posts on top of it. And does that mean if that red light comes on, does that mean I have a bad battery? And no, it doesn't necessarily mean that I have a bad battery, but usually that's more of what I would call a charge light.
Yeah, it's just a generic light. It's just to tell you an indicator. Everybody can look at that picture and know that that means battery, which then is electrical system. We could put a picture of an alternator on the dash, but most people wouldn't.
They wouldn't relate to an alternator.
Yeah, they don't know what that necessarily looks like. So, yeah, when you see that light on your dash that has battery, chances are it's not the battery. It's probably an electrical issue with an alternator, or charging issue, regulator, or diode in the alternator that's bad. Now, you may have a battery on its way out now as a result of that, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have a bad battery just because the light is on.
Well, thanks for the text. We're going to go with Lenmore in Phoenix on a 1997 Civic. Go ahead. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hello. I have a 97 Civic Honda, and my engine light came on, but somebody told me that it could be my gas cap. So, we checked that, and the light went off. But I'm going to need a battery. I want to know the price of the battery and where you're located so I can bring my car over there.
Lenore, where in Phoenix are you?
I'm at 13830 North Black Canyon Highway.
Okay. So
14830, yeah.
14830. So that's around between Thomas and McDowell area?
No, I'm over here right off of Greenway.
Okay. Okay, so I-17 and Greenway. The answer I'll give you is the closest bumper-to-bumper radio shop to you. And if you want to find a shop in your area, go to bumpertobumperradio.com. But for you, Lenore, you're going to want to go to Kurt's Auto. And Kurt's Auto is on 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, right in that area on the north side of the road. As far as the cost of a battery, a good quality battery, and I'm talking about most cars. I'm not talking about your BMW, your higher-end luxury car, anything like that. But your typical import or domestic car, you're going to probably spend between $150 and $185 for a good quality battery installed. And when they're installed too, we need to make sure that the shop is cleaning the battery tray well, making sure that all the holders, the J-hooks, the wedges, and everything that are supposed to secure that battery in place, need to make sure that it's all there, because that's all going to help that battery last longer and keep your car's value and keep it operating the way it should be.
Well, she said something about check engine light and the gas cap thing. We're going to talk about that when we come back, and we've got Anthony and Ray in open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You're listening to Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi. This is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Yes, we realize this is a long name to remember, but most of our customers know us simply as ADS. ADS is a family-owned and operated, state-of-the-art, full-service automotive repair facility with an expert staff that has helped us earn the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation for the second straight year in a row. We are honored, humbled, and dedicated to providing the same level of service to you and your family. We will always strive to get it done right the first time so that you will leave with a smile on your face after every repair or service. ADS is a bumper-to-bumper radio approved shop with a long name but a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our number one priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard, ADS proudly serves Ahwatukee, Chandler, Tempe, Gilbert, and Southeast Phoenix. Stop by or check us out at AutomotiveDiagnosticSpecialties.com today.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at TriCityTransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave.
We're the car guys from the Bumper to Bumper radio show, heard right here on News Talk 92.3 KTAR every Saturday from 11 to noon.
Bumper to Bumper Radio, it's just like your favorite warm and comfy blanket for all your automotive needs.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Dave. And we're here not just on Saturdays, but 24/7 at bumpertobumperradio.com for all the very best repair and service shops in Phoenix.
Yep, right advice, products, and partners are all at bumpertobumperradio.com.
In life, there are certain relationships outside of family and friends that are important. For instance, if your car breaks down, you want to have a relationship with an auto repair shop that you trust to repair your car. The same goes for your doctor, your accountant, and your attorney. Why? Because the services they provide involve health and financial decisions, and it's important to hire a trusted professional. This same principle applies to real estate. Hi, I'm Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. For most of us, our home is the largest financial commitment and asset we will own in our lifetime. So when you decide to sell, it's important to hire a professional, knowledgeable real estate agent that you can trust to represent your interests and provide the best customer service available. If you would like a consultation to help determine the value and discuss a comprehensive marketing plan to sell your home, please visit my website at lisareneehenry.com. That's Lisa Renee, R-E-N-E-E, Henry.com. Come experience the difference a great real estate agent can make.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
I just had to let that play a little bit longer, Dave. So welcome back to Bumper Radio. I'm Matt Allen. He's Dave Riccio. And as always, we're here on Saturdays from 11 to noon when we're here to help you with your car. This show is really here for you, the consumer, the driver out there in the Phoenix area or wherever these airwaves reach to. So if you ever have any questions or any topics that you want to hear us talk about, you can get a hold of us by calling the show, 602-277-5827. It's 602-277-KTAR. You can always text us at 411-923, and we'll try to answer your question the best we can. You can send us email if you have topics that you want us to talk about. And we're always looking for feedback. We've got a couple callers, Anthony, Ray, and Zach, that we're going to get to. But, Dave, talk about what we're here to do.
Well, for those of you that don't tune in to us on a regular basis, maybe this is the first time you've heard the show, Matt and I both are in the automotive repair business. Matt owns Virginia Auto Service, which is on Virginia and
7th Street.
7th Street in Virginia.
Just south of Thomas.
Just south of Thomas. I own a transmission shop, which is in Tempe, Tri-City Transmission. But we are part of a network of great automotive shops that you can find at bumper2bumperradio.com. And I mentioned earlier the biggest concern that people are, I just don't want to get ripped off. And the best way not to get ripped off is to find a good shop, to get a relationship with them, and to stick with them and give them some benefit of the doubt, but also you can ask questions and just make sure you guys are communicating well. It's a relationship. And it's not someone you want to go to, what I call an orphan customer. You go to this shop, then you go to that shop, then you go to the other shop. If you're an orphan and you want to find a good shop, bumper2bumperradio.com.
And as far as what we try to do when we're helping you with your questions, I'm an ASE certified master technician. I've got 26-plus years experience working on cars. And no, I don't work on cars every day now, but I am actively involved in my shop. So when we're helping you, this is the same kind of conversation we might have as if you were standing across our counter. We're going to find out a little bit of information from you and talk to you where we might go with that inspection or diagnosis of your car. But then oftentimes you might call and have a question that relates specifically to your Honda or to your Chevy, but the system on that car is very in common with multiple other cars. So we're going to try and broaden that to help you have a good understanding of how that particular system might apply to your Chevy or your Ford or your Corvette or your BMW or whatever it is, because a lot of these components and systems are all on all the cars. It's just they're different strategies and they're designed a little bit differently.
So we can talk through concepts, but we're not looking at the owner's, the manual, the technical manual right here. So we can talk through the concepts and then broaden it up so everybody can say, okay, that's probably what's on my car, so they understand what's there.
And it helps you have a better understanding when your shop, your service advisor, your technician, or when you're having that interaction at the service counter, you just may have a better understanding of how things work, and we always encourage you to ask questions.
Well, we got a board full of calls, so up for this segment, we're going to go with Anthony in Surprise. And I can't see it from here, but I know he's got an F-150. Go ahead, Anthony. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys. Great show. I listen to you every Saturday. I need some expert advice. I've got an 09 F-150 four-wheel drive. I did a leveling kit in the front, about 2.5 inches, and I went with a much larger tire. My question to you is, would you recommend that I reprogram the computer for shift points, or do I have any kind of problems in the future with the powertrain? Just kind of want to get your opinion on that.
How much larger are those tires? Some people go with a bigger wheel and a smaller sidewall, or is the diameter of the tire much bigger?
Okay, I went with the stock size, which the vehicle's programmed for, is like a 275/70 R17. And I went up to a 285/75 R18. So it went up to like a 34.5-inch, almost a 35-inch tire.
Well, I don't know specifically on the Ford. I know on the General Motors trucks, because when I had my Duramax that was lifted, we could go in and we could put in the exact size of the tire. I'm pretty sure the Ford is the same way, because there was going to be options for tire sizes, and I think it's important to do that. I don't know that not doing it is going to cause you problems necessarily, but it could affect strategies and shift points. The speedometer is not going to be right. The odometer is not going to be right. So depending on that math that I can't do in my head, you could be off 10%. So you might be reporting low miles on your car, which maybe not be a bad thing.
That's how I
guess.
keep the mileage down.
But you might, you might add miles to the car. Maybe it's just a couple percent. It may be negligible amount. But I would want to have it as accurate as it could be.
Well, the two things that the transmission is going to look at, the two main inputs, I mean, it takes input from everything, but the two main inputs is throttle position and your mile per hour. So we know mile per hour is off, so that in the mapping in the computer, it's not going to be the ideal efficiency and horsepower, all the things that the transmission is supposed to do. So I would definitely update it, and there's... You know, you can find a good shop at bumpertobumperradio.com. There is a lot of shops that have that Ford software and can go ahead and make that change for you. We're going to go with Ray in Avondale on a 1998 Dodge Ram pickup. Go ahead, Ray. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys. Just want to get your opinion on something. So I've got this truck. I've had it since new. I want to keep it only for another year and a half so I can afford a payment on a new one. Anywho, 3 years ago, it developed a coolant leak, and it started abruptly all of a sudden, and it has not gotten any worse in 3 years, and I'm talking maybe a half a cup a month it drips.
Where does it drip? Do you know where it's coming from?
Yes, I did take it to one of your recommended shops. They wanted $1,000 to fix it. They said it's coming from what they believe is the timing chain cover.
Okay.
And he didn't want me to leave the shop without at least selling me a radiator cap. He said your cap is holding no pressure at all. And so what I'm wondering is, should I go ahead and spend the money, fix all that just to get it by, or am I hurting anything not keeping that system under pressure? I'm thinking if I put a new cap in it, the pressure's good, maybe it's going to blow out even more.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. But, maybe you're not hurting anything right now, but the chances of hurting something are there. They're pretty well. So I can envision coolant leaking out. You're losing a little bit. You probably got some crust buildup and some nastiness around the timing cover. And what that could be doing, it could be corroding the aluminum cover against the engine block. Not sure of all the different metals and how that particular engine stacks up there on the front. The other risk that you have is it failing all the way, and you just have a catastrophic loss of coolant. You overheat the car, and now you've got a pile of nuts and bolts. The other thing that could happen is that coolant leak could go the other way and leak into the oil of the car, and you're not going to see that dripping on the ground. And you could wash down water out the oil and wipe out the main bearings in the engine. So it's just, man, that's a tough balancing act there.
Well, the car is going to be fixed at some point. So whether that's the next owner, you have to do something with this vehicle. In other words, you're going to get another vehicle, so you may be trading this one in. You may be selling it outright. Does it do anything to the value of the car if I go ahead and fix it? Well, maybe. You want to sell a car that's in good shape. Is it going to make the car a whole lot more valuable? No, a truck like that, a lot of years, a lot of miles on it. Maybe it's a $3,500 truck. If I spend $1,000, is the value going to go up?
Well, maybe not.
A little bit, but you're going to have a clean conscience when you sell it, too.
You'll have a clean conscience, and it may make it easier to sell. Is it going to make the value go up? Maybe not. Is it going to help it retain value? Maybe so. Now, I suspect the other thing that, $1,000, that's if someone says to me, oh, they wanted $1,000 to replace the timing cover gasket, that's probably not the whole story. Because I know if that was at my shop, if we're going to take that effort to go in there and take the timing cover off, we've already taken off your water pump, we took off the lower hose, we took off the upper radiator hose, now we're going to pull the timing cover off, we've got the timing chain right there. So we're probably going to, at Virginia Auto Service, we're probably going to make an estimate to do upper lower hose, thermostat, timing cover gasket, timing chain, and we're going to take care and do a thorough whole job. That's the difference. You might be able to find somebody for $200-300 to go take it apart and slap a new gasket in there. But have you done a really good job for yourself?
Correct. Well, hey, Ray, we really appreciate the phone call. We are going to go with Zach in Phoenix on a 2005 Toyota 4Runner. Go ahead, Zach. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, I got an easy one for you guys. I'm getting ready to shop for a new car battery. I need to know the best brand because there's so many out there.
Well, that's pretty easy, I guess. I'm going to go with AC Delco. That's the battery I like. That's the battery I've sold for nearly 20 years at my shop. They don't leak acid. They're maintenance-free. They have a good life. I know the ones that we sell, they've changed the warranties on them. They have a 30-month free replacement period. So anytime, no questions asked in that 30 months, you get a new one. After that, they've pretty much done away with the prorations. It's an administrative nightmare. That's a great battery. Interstate batteries are good.
Interstate batteries, that's what we sell at our shop, but they offer two grades. They offer the one that's a 2-year free replacement, and then they offer the one that's a 1-year free replacement. So again, I would call the 2-year one a top-tier battery. So it's a good battery. You're going to get your 28 to 36 months out of it. And same thing with any of these good name brand batteries where you're buying up in there, because a lot of times they'll offer kind of a good or better and best. And you pick the one that you want.
Yeah, go with the higher 2/3 when you have the choice. The days of a $59 battery are pretty much over. There's so much to risk by putting a cheap battery or having an experience with a bad battery.
Well, we've got some phone calls and a couple open lines at 602-277-5827, but we do have a text here about a 2004 Toyota Tacoma, and he's getting a white battery discharge around the cable connector. Matt, how can he get rid of this white discharge?
Well, see the doctor, see the car doctor. No, probably what's happening. I'm maybe seeing little snowflakes, little white snowflakes up on top of the battery, and that's just acid on top of the battery, and it will cause a parasitic draw across the top of the battery. So it's very important to occasionally clean the battery. You can mix up baking soda and water and put that around there to neutralize the acid. You want to keep the terminals clean. You want to keep the top of the battery clean, the tray down below. The gentleman was just calling with the 4Runner. We used to see 4Runners and pickups. There's an aluminum air conditioning line that runs right below the battery, and you get a cheap battery that leaks acid. It attacks that aluminum. Now we've got an air conditioning problem because we save $50 on a battery.
It's time for Fact or Fiction.
I don't remember what our fact or fiction was for the day, but I'm going to go with something quick. Leaving the tailgate down on my truck. Yeah, he doesn't like my fact or fiction. Leaving the tailgate down on the truck will give me better gas mileage. You know your dad did it. You know your grandpa did it. You know everybody did it.
That's, I guess, I think there's a Mythbusters about that. It's fiction.
It's fiction.
Let's get to a real one that applies today instead of this tailgate garbage.
Okay, what do you got?
This is nonsense. Changing my battery can make my car run bad.
Absolutely, that is fact. I noticed that when the car has a brand new battery, we've disconnected it. We talked about all those learned values that are in the computer that are now gone. Well, it kind of has to go to school again and learn, all the adjustments on the engine and on the transmission.
Yeah, and we even see other funky things like the windows don't auto roll down and up and all kinds of craziness. So batteries are integral, and it's just can cause weird things.
You're listening to Matt and Dave on Bumper to Bumper Radio, and we'll be back.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
We're celebrating, and for good reason. Yep, 2014 marks the 20th anniversary of Kaiko Roofing here in the Valley, and they're proud and humbled to have been trusted for all these years by you, their loyal customers. Year after year, Kaiko has over 50% of their business coming from referrals or repeat customers, and 98% of the customers continue to say they would refer Kaiko to a friend or family member. For that loyalty and trust, we all want to say thank you. Kaiko is proud to install peace of mind by using only the finest materials with their most skilled workers, all backed by the industry's best owner's pride guarantee. If the roof on your home or business is over 10 years old, call Kaiko for a free checkup and financing options. 602-944-4600 or go to KaikoRoofing.com. They're crazy about quality.
Hi, this is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Long name, right? But we have a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our number one priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Bumper to Bumper Radio approved. ADS is a family-owned and operated state-of-the-art repair facility that has an expert staff that for the second straight year has earned the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard. Find us at automotiveddiagnosticspecialties.com.
Bumper to Bumper on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Maybelline, why can't you be true? Oh, Maybelline.
All righty, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I'm Matt Allen, he's Dave Riccio, and we are here helping you with your car. Today we're talking about batteries and getting ready for big bad summer, although I can see some blue skies out there now. I was hoping for the day to stay cool and dark and dreary and rainy maybe, because it is this 100 degrees is right around the corner.
And that's when your battery is going to die. So if you've been putting it off and you know your battery is 3 years old and you're going to buy one, whether you want to or not, but do you buy it when you choose, or do you buy it when Murphy chooses for you? And Murphy's going to choose it for you when you're all dressed up, got a tuxedo on, and stopped off to grab a little soda on your way over to the reception.
Wedding or whatever, a little road soda.
And, then you got to get a jump start, and jump start is never good.
Well, Dave, I see that our first caller that we were going to take, Renee, just dropped off. So, Renee, on your Jetta, if you have a question you need some help with, I don't think we'll be able to get to you if you call back. We wish you wouldn't have dropped off. But if you have a question we can help you with, send us an email at bumpertobumperradio.com, and I'll be sure to get it right away and help you with your car.
Well, let's go with George in Mesa on a 1999 Ford F250. Go ahead, George. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Thanks for taking the call, guys. This is not a battery question, but it is electrical. The wipers on my Ford just will all of a sudden start to move without even being asked to. They do it intermittently and just at a whim. And I don't know how to get stopped.
Do you ask them nicely to stop?
I do occasionally, yes.
And they still don't.
Sometimes they ask them not so nicely.
Well, I know the answer to that, Matt, because that's one of those gremlins, and we do have a guy that performs Automotive Exorcist. Is he on the Bumper to Bumper network? Have we put him up there yet?
No, not yet. Well, I think what we're going to find there, George, I would have to start by looking at a wiring diagram and see what components are in the system and how that's controlled. But my first guess, there's going to be a multi-function switch, which is the turn signal switch, the wiper switch, and cruise control. Well, not cruise control on a Ford, but whatever's up there on the column on those levers, that switch could be bad. Their chances of the wiper motor itself shorting out, I think, are pretty slim. Possibly a relay or control switch that is activated by the multi-function switch. But it takes looking at the road map. We need to look at the map, or in this case the wiring diagram, and see how that system works, and then we'll be able to tell where the power or the ground or whatever is causing that to come on is coming from. But still, it's probably going to be just a good educated guess. Try catching that one. How's that for an intermittent problem to figure out?
Yeah.
Not fun.
F-250s, did those have problems with catching in fire and all that stuff, or
no,
ignition
switches?
switches?
That's the brake
switch.
The brake switch, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, thanks so much for the call, George. I'm going to go with this text here. This car looks like a 1994 Bonneville that has been parked for 8 years, and it hasn't been turned over at all. So towed it to the tire shop, 4 new tires, got a battery. What else should be checked and replaced? I'm thinking that fuel is sludge. What do you think?
Well, the fuel is probably nasty, but if you haven't gone and got the tires yet, before you make too much of an investment in the car, I would hope that the shop might be able to just air up the tires that you have. Let's get some decent, clean fuel in there. Depending on how nasty that is, the shop would just have to make a judgment call at the time that we can't tell here on the air. You might be able to add some good fuel to the car. You might have to maybe just run the fuel pump and get what's in there out. You maybe add a couple gallons to mix it and blend it through.
Dilute it down.
Get the thing started up for a few minutes. Get it hot. Change the oil. let's just see, because I'm thinking during these 8 years that it was sitting there, the cooling system could be rotting. And what I'd hate to have you do is go spend $400 or $500, $600 putting tires, battery, oil change into it, and then find out that that particular car, which has a propensity to leak intake manifold gaskets and everything, make sure that you've got a good foundation before you go hang other stuff on there, and make sure that the investment is right. Get a full inspection done on the car so that we know what we're dealing with first.
That was pretty good. I think I learned something from that. Thanks so much for the call, or the text. We're going to go with Mike in Mesa on a 2004 GMC Sierra. Go ahead, Mike. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi there. Well, I got a problem with my truck. I kind of have an idea what it is. I was just kind of looking for a confirmation and maybe a ballpark price to fix it. But what my truck does is when I start it in the morning, the oil pressure is really low. It's so low that it actually starts ringing at me that the oil pressure is low. I give it some gas, the oil pressure goes up, and then, once I drive it for a little bit, I guess once the oil heats up, then it has no problem staying at the pressure it needs to be. But until it warms up, when I come to stoplights or stop signs, things of that sort, then the oil pressure starts dropping down again.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be the pump?
Well, what do you think it is? You said you had a pretty good idea.
Well, that's what I was just asking. Would that be the pump? Do I need to replace the pump, and how much would I be looking at for my truck?
Okay. Well, I don't think it's the pump. We see it. Does that have the 5.3 engine in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That has a pickup tube from the oil pump that goes down into the sump of the engine, and we see on those a lot the oil. There's an O-ring where the pickup tube attaches to the oil pump, and that O-ring can harden and rot, and it allows it to suck in air right there. So a couple things that we do on the Chevy or GMC trucks, I've seen my techs doing to confirm that, is we'll jack up the car, we'll overfill the oil, and maybe even lift the car in a manner, and I don't know if it's the left side or the right side or up or down in the front or the rear, but we'll tilt that engine to try and submerge where that O-ring is. Normally in air, we'll try and get that covered in oil so it can't suck air, and see if that solves the problem. That's what I'm thinking it is. Now, as far as the oil pump, I hate to guess on the price because I'm pretty sure I know on that one. It's not the old style where you pull the oil pan down and the pump is right there. This oil pump, I believe, is driven off the crankshaft off the front of the engine. They're a little spendy to replace.
Little spendy.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times that we get these oil pressure questions, the first thing you usually say, not today you didn't, so I don't know why. I don't know why today is different, but let's verify that we really got a pressure problem.
Yes.
Because do we trust the gauge? Do we trust the light? Do we trust the chime? Many times it's just a matter of we've got a bad sending sensor that's not telling us we got enough pressure, and once you build a little bit of pressure, it goes away.
Yeah, so what you're saying, or what we're talking about, is you need to take the oil pressure sending unit out of the engine. We're going to replace it with a mechanical gauge. We're going to go from a cold warm-up all the way through a hot cycle and read what the mechanical pressure is first to verify that we've got that. And then depending on what we find there, we'll change course the right way.
Well, we really appreciate you joining us. We appreciate your phone calls and text. And Brianna just gets better at running the dials every week for this show, so thank you so much. If you're looking for a great shop to start a relationship with, bumpertobumperradio.com. I'm Matt and Dave, and we'll see you next week.
After 14 years in the States, mostly spent here in the Valley, I was getting bloody frustrated with the treatment I was receiving from dealerships on the maintenance and repairs of my vehicles. I finally reached out to a friend who told me I was crazy not to try Virginia Auto Service. Being a mom with a busy schedule, children, and work, I took my friend's advice and gave Virginia a try. What a refreshing difference. From the first step through their doors, their staff was accommodating and understanding. Robert explained in plain English what I needed to have done, but also why. They went out of their way to make sure that the experience was convenient, with door-to-door shuttle service by a lovely man named Bergie. Several years and a number of visits later, the experience is always the same. They tell me what is necessary right now and what is not. This is Victoria, and I don't know much about cars, but I do know that from boot to bonnet, Virginia Auto Service knows how to take care of their customers. Check them out online at virginiaautoservice.com.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave.
We're the car guys from the Bumper to Bumper radio show, heard right here on News Talk 92.3 KTAR every Saturday from 11 to noon.
Bumper to Bumper radio, it's just like your favorite warm and comfy blanket for all your automotive needs.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Dave. And we're here not just on Saturdays, but 24/7 at bumpertobumperradio.com for all the very best repair and service shops in Phoenix.
Yep, right advice, products, and partners are all at bumpertobumperradio.com.